do yours first?
You be rocking and a wiggling, you be hopping and a jiggling like a hop. When the party started wiggling, everything started wiggling like a hop. If the night day I was all clean and loud as a hop. You don't want to hop, the ball will never stop.
So I don't fall.
Come on, you don't want to hop.
Okay.
Mama Hen, back again. Squawking, walking, let's begin. I'm about to show you how it's done. Laying eggs is so much fun. Squawk! There it is. There's an egg over here, an egg over there. Throw your beaks in the air,
That is not right.
Squawk! There it is. Squawk-a-laka, squawk-a-laka, squawk-a-laka. Squawk! There it is.
Woohoo, that one didn't come.
Oh, and what's new? It's almost Easter time.
And the bunnies are all here.
And we have the little chickie and the bunny rabbit, and we also have some special guests. I think, who's going for it first?
We'll go first.
You guys are? Okay. We have the drama club from St. John, and you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Krisha Google. I'm the director of the high school drama stuff there at the school. This is Nate Gibson,
Okay.
and this is Ashley Kreider.
Well, welcome, you guys. Tell us all about your new play.
Your
What
big
is it?
theatrical play.
Yes. The Note, is that what it is?
Well, Note to Self is our one act.
Okay.
And it is, actually, when we do our performances, we're going to do the one act and the Reader's Theater all in the same night. The one act is about 35 minutes in length, and the Reader's Theater is about the same. We took them both down to Jackson High School for a district competition about a month or so ago, and we wanted to make sure that we did it for the St. Genevieve community as well. So the one act is called Note to Self. It's by Bradley Hayward. It's a comedy, and it's just a bunch of different situations that people find themselves in, and it kind of is like a lesson learned thing, with social media and, what you do with your phone when you drive, things like that. And
Like put a piece of bread in your ear. I heard that on. Isn't that goofy?
Put a piece of bread in your ear?
To your ear.
Oh.
When you're driving with the phone. And they'll think it's bread instead of a phone.
Still gonna get pulled over. Only you,
That's what was on the
they may think you're
radio
a
or
little off your
television or
nuts.
something.
Well, for one thing, you can always eat the bread.
Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
It's okay. My one act is done by my play production class, which is my fine arts class. My Reader's Theater, which I'm going to allow Ashley and Nate to talk about, is done with my competitive speech, debate, and theater class. And it's a little different. We've done one before, last year, and so this will be our second one that we've ever done here in St. John. So I'll let them talk about that.
Well, it's a little different from actual play. We can't use props, and we don't have to memorize our lines. So that's like one of the best things about it, because if you forget, you're just kind of in trouble. But instead, we read it from a binder, and we get to act it out. We can't use any props, but we can act it out.
Oh,
Well, that would be interesting.
yeah.
And like our lines, like you would take a normal play and then break it up. And you don't have like names as readers. You have like reader 1, reader 2, reader 3, and so on. And then you only have like 1 or 2 sentences per line. And then you just flow through reading them expressively. And then you do little acts throughout the dramatic scenes.
As an entire, it's like they're reading a story and telling a story as a group. And I believe we have 13 in that group.
So it's not like you have a scene or anything, it's you just stand there and read, or sit there and read.
Well, they do change, like they'll change positions. Like as they read, they have different forms that they take on as a group.
Oh.
And then they act out like different, like they'll talk about something that's going to be happening, and then they'll have somebody act it out at the same time. So it's like they narrate what's going on.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like as for when you have an acting group, you'll have someone in the front, or like, it depends what position you are in, and then for that scene, you have a person in the front acting, and then out, and like usually everyone else in like the back row behind will be like the bystanders. So like in high school, like our thing's called the High School's Guide to the Galaxy, and so it's kind of like different scenes from like you expect from a high school.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
So when does this take place?
May 9th.
May 9th is
May
when we're
9th.
going to do it.
And how much does it cost to get in?
It's going to be $4 for adults, $3 for students. And it'll be at 7 o'clock, and of course, it's at the St. Genevieve R2 Performing Arts Center,
Also known as a pack.
the PAC.
The what?
Mhm.
A pack.
Mhm.
Why do they call it
The what?
Performing Arts Center.
Performing Arts.
Performing Arts Center.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Oh.
You didn't know it was called the pack?
No, I did not. I sure didn't.
I'm sorry, I didn't inform you of that.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
let us
well,
know
sorry.
things here.
She kind of has the inside scoop, though.
I
so-
think so. Probably because Melissa's there.
Yeah.
And John. She
Yeah.
knows everything goes on.
I know everything that goes
She knows
on.
everything that goes on anyway.
So you do fine arts also?
Mhm.
Drawing and,
Well, I don't do any artwork, which does make it challenging to do the plays. So a lot of the times I do have to rely on John Otto to help me out with that because I can't even draw stick figures. So
I can't neither.
yeah, so he helps me out quite a bit. And with the one act, there's not really a elaborate set because they have so many different scenes. So they just have different props that they've either found or they've made, and they act out using those props. It's like
okay,
it's like you watch a series of scenes,
okay.
and that's how it works with that one.
You could always use those great big rocks that he's got up there.
Yeah.
I get so tickled when I see these little petite girls carrying these big rocks, and okay, whatever.
That's the one they were hiding behind. the
Oh,
other
yeah.
night,
Yeah.
Yeah, so what grade are you guys in?
We're freshmen.
You're freshmen, so you got a long
So you
time
got-
yet to do that, huh?
3 years.
I hope they want to do it every year. That's
I'm
always my
definitely
goal.
going to.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's fun.
Especially the competitions, because when you go to competition, you can still watch all the other ones and like see what maybe different schools do. You can get different ideas.
Yes.
So it's definitely a lot of fun to see them first before you go.
And the Reader's Theater is also very versatile because you can have students that might struggle with memory or things like that can actually do very well with Reader's Theater because of the way that it's set up. So it really does create a great opportunity for kids that normally would never step on stage because they've just had.
Yeah, and it builds their
challenges.
self-esteem.
It's perfect for shy kids. So
Yeah.
Nate can tell you that.
Were you shy?
Yeah.
You're not
But
shy
you-
no more?
Yeah.
Weren't
Good.
you in another play that, you were here before, weren't you?
No, I
No?
don't think so.
You just got one of those Hollywood faces, you know.
So I was saying, he looks like that other little guy. Who was that was in that other play?
The one that played the pig.
Yeah.
I can't think of what his name was.
Max Upchurch.
Yes,
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 yes.
yes.
hmm He was my Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. one
Oh,
summer, too,
okay.
so.
Now, do you both want to go acting at all? And you thinking about that for career or sideline? Or?
I mean, I think it'd be a really cool dream to do it,
Mhm.
but I don't see me being able actually to make something of it.
I mean, like, if I get the chance, going straight for it.
That'd be awesome if we could.
Well, you just have to go
Uh-huh.
to school for it and move to California.
You know,
I think it'd be
Brad
cool.
Pitt's from Missouri, so
He did have to
And
live in his car for a little while.
Sarah,
I
That's
live
just
in
the
a
struggle of the actor, though.
I think it'd be really cool to
Live
be
for
a
your
coach and the director like Miss Google. I think that'd be cool.
It will serve you for the rest of your life. I was in drama every year and debate as well, and there's skills and things that apply to your life for the rest of your life, and public speaking and
And
self-confidence and
being able to
assertion.
talk in front of people.
Oh, yeah.
People will say, Oh, how can you do that? After you do it for so long,
Uh-huh.
it
It
doesn't...
gives you self-confidence.
Yeah.
You just say what's on your mind.
That's
And a lot of times it might get you in trouble.
But it's worth it.
And I have a lot of first-time actors in my one act as well, so.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so it's, like I said, it's going to be a great experience for all of them to be able to do it for our community.
I remember when I was in school, when they did the play, the nun told me that I probably couldn't do the play, but I could be the student director.
I thought that.
How do you even know me? I probably couldn't have memorized
But that
it.
was years and years and years ago.
A long, long time ago.
You see, last year I had a student that fit almost every single role, and I didn't know where to put her, so I told her, I said, I want you to be my student director, because you know how to make these characters come to life.
It was fun doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a lot of responsibility that I didn't know it was.
Yes.
When she told me that, yeah.
Mhm.
I was hurt because she didn't want me in the play.
Yeah.
That she didn't think you were talented
I
enough.
guess.
I think my acting debut
I
was in
still
high
remember
school,
that.
and it was a Christmas Carol, and I played Peter. I didn't like being a boy, and I only had one line, and Hollywood did not knock on the door after that.
It didn't come after you?
They did not come after me.
did
Can you
not.
imagine?
Hmm.
But I always wanted to be the art director. You know, I want to be in charge of the whole overall
That was your power.
visual.
See,
Yeah.
I can't do that at all.
See, that's what I would like to do, you know, from the whole color scheme and the lighting, or lighting, I love lighting too, so.
You're just
There's a
frustrated.
lot of
I am
feels
a
in.
frustrated artist, ever since this junior high experience.
It really is, and, you know, our lighting system at
Oh,
the
it's
PAC is
Gorgeous.
it's just so
Complex.
That whole building
complex,
is
but it's
awesome.
got so many different things that we can do with it. It's just a matter of learning it, and I can understand why people can go to school just for lighting.
Do the students do the lighting, or or is there someone?
I'm sure they do.
If I have someone that can do the lighting, yes, like I help them set up the lighting cues and things like that, but then when it's showtime, they run it. So,
That's good. That's
So
good
is that
experience
written
for
out,
us.
what light you put on when and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff?
yeah.
They almost blinded the clown that we took up to the pack for the circus.
Oh, really?
The light was focused right on him, and I thought, he is going to fall off that stage. But he didn't. I said, sorry about the lights. We, didn't realize they were going to be that bright where he was standing.
It's
That
hard to
building is
tell.
awesome.
Well, in a
Yeah.
play, it's like a musical instrument almost, isn't it? I mean, you've got a whole script
Welcome
of
to What's New.
lighting cues.
Hi, it's Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, I'd like to ask the teacher if she has anything special planned for next year, since it'll be the 100-year celebration at the high school.
Well, you know, it's going to be a challenge for me because I am actually expecting a baby at the beginning of the year. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm still kind of working through all of that and trying to decide. I know that there's been mention of a play that exists somewhere.
Pat's got it.
Does she have it?
The one that class did, yeah. That's
Okay.
what I was going to ask you. If you wanted to see that, you can come over to my house and I'll show it to you.
Okay, all right. I'll have to find out how to make arrangements.
Okay, I'm Pat Parker, and I'm in the telephone book.
Okay.
One of the
I'll
last
tell her where you
remaining
live.
landlines in
Everybody
town.
knows that.
I'll
Okay.
tell her where you live, Pat.
Please
in
do,
next
please.
block.
I'd love to meet the lady.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for calling.
Thank
Bye-bye.
She's awesome.
She's our faithful
Yeah.
caller.
And if she doesn't call, we get worried.
I bet.
Yeah, she didn't call for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we
I
were
didn't
saying,
know she
Pat
had to
hasn't
play.
called. Pat
Oh, yeah.
hasn't called, and she says, you just go do such a good job, and that your guests do such a good job, I didn't have to call.
Yeah, so, oh, Lord.
That's an institution.
So are they going to do something special then for the 100 year?
You know, it's just in the works right now. We've been talking, and I'll tell you that script, we were supposed to have a copy of it in the library, but we switched librarians, and, I mean, it's just one of those things that just kind of, we're not sure where it is, so I'll take
Yeah.
a look and see what I can do.
That's great. Glad you called.
Yeah.
You know, it'd really be neat if the two schools could combine and do that play, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would.
That would really be neat.
So what is the play?
I don't know.
All
I
I
don't
know
know
is
what
it's
the
the
name of
100-year
it is,
play.
but
That's,
it's-
that's all,
yeah.
I've heard it called the 100-year play, but I haven't seen it, I don't know anything else
Pat,
about it.
what's the 100-year, I mean, what's the play, what's the name of it?
Give us a call back.
Yeah, she's not on there.
She probably will.
She'll know.
There she is.
She's a good lady.
Yes, she is.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay, it's called Home Ties.
Home ties.
Ties.
Okay.
It I'm trying to think of the right word here. Anyway, it goes way back to like 1910.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right
Yeah.
around the time I was born.
Yeah, you and me both. No, they did it, you know, in 1915.
19.
The play is about 4 or 5 years older. But
Oh,
it's like an old-fashioned, it's a love story kind of thing. It's real
Oh.
old-fashioned, and I don't know that the kids today
There's
would be
your
interested in
chance.
doing the whole thing.
Oh, sure they would.
I might take a scene out of it, you know, or one act or something just for part of their celebration, whatever they do. I'm pushing it because my aunt was part of that first graduating class.
Oh,
My great
okay.
aunt, in fact, she was the last member of it to pass away in 2000.
Oh, my word.
And it's just a big thing to me, so I keep annoying everybody about it. I've got the playbook that she used. That
That's
she
The
not
original.
annoying.
That's
Jerry
not
McDaniel
annoying.
found it, and he got copies of it. So there are copies floating around, and I have one here. If anybody wants to come and look at it, they're more than welcome. I welcome visitors. You all know that. I bribe people to come over.
We'll all be over.
So anyway, yeah, the teacher here, if she's interested, regardless of whether she's going to be taking care of a new baby and isn't going to be part of it, if she has any interest in it, I'd love to have her come visit me.
I will make
Okay,
sure that I
bye-bye.
All right,
contact you.
thanks, Pat.
Would that be for one act?
I guess I'm in the
just
wrong
leave it?
place.
I'm not
Where
sure.
are you supposed to go?
I don't know, my son and his friend were supposed to be on TV to do,
Right here?
oh, there you are, I see.
You can come sit if you want to. You're
Oh,
fine.
okay, that'd be awesome.
Oh, he's on TV, right here. Okay, you guys got anything else to talk about?
Well, our Reader's Theater, it's called High Schoolers Guide to the Galaxy. It's by Brian Startrum. And it's really just like over-exaggerating all the things that go on in high school. And it's like a guide that freshmen would get to see how
okay.
high school's going to be. And it just fills their heads with like scenarios you would think would happen, but they over-exaggerate it.
Like one of them is being like for one of my characters, I have a condition, I can't run, and so they give the narrators will give you heads up like how to deal with it and everything. And another one is dating and dances, and so because it's much different dances from high school and middle school, so it kind of gives the freshmen what to expect.
When they go to the different dances at school.
It's really funny, and they do a good job.
So how
Okay.
long does the whole thing take place?
I would say maybe an hour and 15 minutes is how long it would take for us to get through both. So,
They're always so good.
They
every
are.
one of them.
I
They are.
said,
I enjoy it, every
people
one.
should go and see. They don't realize how much talent these kids have.
Oh, they're great. They're terrific.
I know it.
And it's so amazing that they know all their lines. They hardly ever flub up. Even the one that didn't miss the 20 practices.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those kids were so good.
well, and that's how we were. We missed so many practices because of the snow days, and then
Right.
we had to go down and compete at the district competition, and I was very pleased with how we did. So, they always pull through and do what they're
Oh, yeah.
supposed to
That's
do.
determination.
Yeah.
And that's being a teacher, being worried about them, because that's the way Melissa is too. She worries about them, and they do great.
And we always say that. She and I were kind of each other's shoulder to cry on
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And we always say that we always panic because they just don't seem like they're going to pull it off. And then when it comes time,
We
they do it
gotcha.
every time.
That's how it always was with our group too, because we knew we had that leeway, so we'd screw around, make the director really nervous, but then when it was showtime, everybody was
It
fine-tuned.
doesn't surprise me
We
you
were,
would do that.
and it was just a drama thing.
I'm surprised she's telling it.
Oh, he knows. I keep in touch with him, because you don't ever really get out of touch with your drama director. If you're around them a lot, they become part of your life. You can learn a lot in drama.
There you go.
We
Well,
know what
sounds
we
like-
gotta do next year.
Sounds like you all have put together a pretty good show.
I'm definitely excited for it to perform.
Good.
Excited.
We've got to come see it.
Hope everyone does.
Yeah,
can't
so
wait.
everyone head to the PAC.
Pat, yes.
What
The
was the
night?
Performing
May
Arts
9th.
Center
May
up
9th,
day
at
before us.
St. Jan High School.
On May 9th at
7
o'clock.
Admission is only $4 for adults.
And $3 for children.
Okay. Got anything else you want to talk about?
Just come out and have a great time.
Very
Let them
good.
go.
Good.
Will you be
Always
signing
throwing it
autographs
over
afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got your Sharpie
All
ready?
right, yeah.
Bring your cameras.
The
smile
paparazzi.
big.
Because you know those first autographs are the most valuable, because when you do become a famous star,
10 years
this is
later.
where the money's at right
Let's say we
now.
knew them when.
This is what
You mean
started
my
it.
autograph's gonna be, oh, no.
There's too many people been through the court here that have your autograph.
Huh?
Too many people been through the court here have your autograph.
I know. Oh, well.
They don't necessarily.
You've overdone it.
Yeah, I know. A nickel apiece.
Well, have you got, is there anything else coming up before the school ends?
I'm pretty sure that this is the last
Is this going to be about the
performance
last?
for the year.
That's what I was wondering.
Oh, yeah,
At least
it's
from the
already-
drama side, I'm sure that there's going to be probably some music stuff coming up, but
But for the drama side, this will probably be the last.
yes, for the school year.
Yeah, because it's
last
already
opportunity.
towards the end of
Well, for
April.
the school year, but then
Yes,
of
but
course
they do summer
we'll have
drama.
the middle school drama camp, and then we also have the high school drama camp in the summer, so there'll be at least 2 shows again in the summer.
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
Great. Good.
Yeah. So
Because I look forward
Yeah,
to
and be sure to
those.
let us know when they are. I'm
Yeah,
sure
you-
Melissa will.
Yeah, and you're more than welcome to come.
Come back and talk about it.
Yes, yes, anything you've got coming up, come back and talk about it. You too,
Okay.
both of you.
thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
coming.
When you're famous, come back and see us.
Yeah.
For sure.
Come back and we'll say, oh darn, we should have got your autograph. And took all the pictures. So you can stay if you would like and listen. This is going to be very interesting. You can take it back
If
to
you
all
need
your
to go,
classmates.
you can go.
Yes, if you have to leave, you can leave, but if you would like to stay.
I don't know, your dad has all that frozen meat in the car.
Oh,
So that means yes.
that means
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Well,
Thank you.
actually then tune in, go on to the internet on stgentv.com and do what's on the thing out, videos on demand, and then click on that and choose what's new for this day. Because they're gonna
And then you
talk
can see
about,
your-
they have a program. Are you gonna go up to school with it too?
I've
We're up
been
there
there
today.
today.
But yeah,
Went
we've got
to-
another thing
yeah.
coming up too.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, May
watch the
10th,
program.
before you leave. May 10th, after you're done with your thing, then come to, we're having an anti-heroin rally. You'll know about it. The schools will let you know. Just putting it on your RSVP list right now. May 10th.
Well, thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing them. Okay, next we have Tara Roberts and Tish Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
And
So,
you
I was
Tell us a
Tara's
little
window
bit about
dressing.
yourself first.
Serious subject this
Yeah.
time.
It is.
Well, Tara is here. She is a practicum student, a graduate student at the University of Missouri St. Louis in social work, and she's about to graduate in about a month. And she's finished all her coursework. So I like to tell her the only thing between her and that degree is pleasing me.
It's really what?
Making me happy. No,
Yeah.
she does a great job. She's done a great job.
She's got me on a leash,
I
you
do,
know,
yeah,
like she.
pretty much.
Honey, that's a hard job.
But we could talk a little bit about how,
Yeah,
how
change
we
the subject.
became into this. Absolutely. Well, we got into this particular issue, but we'd had, Sandy Bell and I at the health department had some conversations about heroin and in the community, and it was kind of eye-opening for me. And that was about the time Tara came along, and she has really grabbed this subject and ran with it, working with some community partners. And we have formed the Hope Alliance, and Hope stands for, I always forget,
Heroin and opioid prescription education.
because I'm very old. And I get very confused. So we have a partnership of people from law enforcement, the schools, healthcare, as well as some family members of people who have been addicts to heroin
Part of the
addicts
addiction
and-
community. Yeah.
Part of the addiction community. I am not the articulate one. But Tara has learned a great deal about this, and we've been in the school, so I don't know, you want to...
Last Wednesday, I went to Valley and spoke with their group of SAD, the Students Against Destructive Decisions. There was approximately 30 or so kids that I got to talk to that day. It went really well, but I had a limited amount of time with them because I shared that chunk of time with another gentleman from the National Guard and their drug task force team. So he did a lot of his talking about substances such as tobacco and alcohol. In the beginning, he talked about learning to respect yourself and making goals in life, and then that kind of led into all these things are going to stop you from getting to where you want to be and where you want to meet those goals. And then once he got towards the harder stuff, then I took over and did my presentation, gave the kids all folders full of information because I knew I had a limited amount of time and I wanted them to be able to leave and have time to absorb this information because it's a lot. And the way I designed the packets is that they can't possibly even thumb through it and not accidentally learn something because nothing in there is unimportant. It's very fact-based, and there's statistics and stories, you know, things they cannot deny that are the realities of what this decision, if they make the decision to either start to abuse prescription opiates, which are anything from your Vicodin and Percocets to the Oxycontin, oxycodone, and how quickly the addiction forms. And I think the latest statistic I just saw was 77% of all heroin addicts started with prescription medications, with opiate prescriptions, because eventually that gets hard to maintain because the supplies aren't there. You can't keep getting them. They are expensive, and of course it doesn't take very long once they're into that addiction before someone is there going, well, I've got this, which is heroin, and it's half or less of the price that they were planning on paying, and it's easy to get, and you can do it in any way you want. You can smoke it, you can snort it, you can just orally ingest it, you can inject it. There's no way you can't put it in your body, and it's very easy for the kids to get.
So this really isn't the heroin of the 70s.
No.
So when we first learning about this, I was envisioning, you know, somebody with a needle in their arm in an abandoned house somewhere, you know, those sorts of images. But that is not the face of heroin today.
Yeah, you learned a lot.
I am learning a lot.
Because, I mean, we both started out at the same place having limited knowledge, but then once I had stacks of research papers from 1972 to present date on different ways because no one's figured out how to fix this. There is no magic solution. And one of the most effective things that I found was peer education, which is going to a select group of students and educating them. because they're the ones that are going to be in those social situations where it's brought to them and they have the opportunity to say yes or no. They're not going to listen to us. They're not going to listen to their parents, and they're not going to listen to the authorities at school. It's very, your peers are your world when you're at that age. And my idea is to educate these kids, because I got the SAD group at Valley earlier today I spoke with a group of probably about 75 is what we last had an idea of count. It was a good group of kids.
That was at St. Gen today.
At St. Genevieve today. And I gave them their packets of information, and then we went through it, and I spoke about what how this problem came to be, how I found out about it, and then all the research that I did to figure out where this stuff comes from, what is it, where are people getting it. I went around town and talked to people. I talked to 3 different people that I thought were between the ages of like 18 to 24 that I did not know, and asked them about, did you know that heroin is in St. Genevieve and the kids are messing with it and people are getting addicted? And they all could name about 3 people that they personally knew, either an uncle or some friends at school that they had graduated, but they knew that this person had gotten involved in it their junior year, and now this is a couple of years after high school, and they know that person's been in and out of rehab 3 or 4 times. They all had stories of about 3 different people. So then I talked to the police department. They validated that it was here and things were happening, a lot of thefts. There was a lot of crime that was going on committed, because once a person gets into that addiction, they start stealing from anybody and everybody. The moral code is gone. It's what anything and everything that they can get their hands on that they could get money for.
And it's steadily getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big growing.
But the point of this is to get that education and awareness in the community, because just like me, when we started, we did not know. And I wouldn't have known had I not chased it and did the research and started asking the ER nurses and asking the police department and talking to people on the street and talking to kids that I knew that were 20 and 21 that had graduated at my other employment, or, that I knew. And they were like, yeah, my sister. I'm like, I had no idea that your sister was addicted to heroin, and it's everywhere. I went and put out flyers for a support group that we started, and pharmacists, people in very prestigious jobs, they have a son or daughter who's battled this. It's everywhere. It's no race, gender, socioeconomic boundaries. It's not the person that's all scrawny and weak and dirty and nasty in the corner. It's the young, fit, chiseled face, short-haired football player. The girl with the hair that gets done, at least once a month, and tans. And these kids are beautiful, and it's so sad to see the little obituary picture on the websites, and all the people that are crying out right now because they've lost their sons, daughters, sisters, brothers. And these kids are not those people. They're honor roll students. They were in AP classes. They were in honor choir. They were football stars. They were volleyball stars. It's everywhere. And so to try to get awareness to these kids so that they can go out and hopefully use positive peer pressure, tell the people when it's offered to them. I made the students laugh today because I said it doesn't have to be, something real intellectual. You can just say, I'm sorry, I like being pretty, and I like not having gray skin, and I rather spend my money on other things than that. I said, and then the girlfriend that you're with may think, yeah, I don't want to mess with that stuff either, versus both looking at each other going, well, what do you want? Do you want to? Do you want to?
Now, is heroin the worst drug?
In my opinion, yes, it is the most addictive drug.
Well, it's gotten the most popular right now, isn't it?
Yes, there's an epidemic.
We were just talking with an NBC that just did, or is doing, a nightly special, and we've seen some prominent individuals that have died. The young man that was on the TV show Glee, and then the actor Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Corey Monteith.
Corey Monteith. And I don't know about the young woman, the young model that died earlier was it last week?
They haven't figured that one out.
Yeah, I
yet,
don't
have
think they
they?
figured that one out, so I don't want to assume that, but,
Mhm.
yeah, it seems almost all of a sudden, but it really isn't. And
Now,
it's
is
something we're
heroin
keeping
the
up.
drug that, old,
Mhm.
because I'm old, but they used to, you would heat it?
Well, where did
Okay.
it come from?
I told the kids today that someone had told me at the Women's Health Fair that we should make a big public awareness sign on the highway. Where are all of my spoons?
Yeah.
Because even I watched videos today. It was on Channel 5 last night. There's a woman, it was on a story about the Narcan and all the legislation going on with that. And she was even saying she had 2 sons that were addicts. And it's a recurring theme with the parents. It's such a silly thing, but to open their drawer and be like, where are all of my spoons? They don't even, it doesn't even
Yeah.
register
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's your baby.
Yeah,
That's your
and
son or daughter. You don't
And
think
you
those
never
things.
think your child would
But
ever
it's a
do that.
common thing. Where are all of my dang spoons at? And then to find them in weird places, and then you're like rubbing on it. What is this crap in this spoon? Just not even thinking that it's a possibility.
Well, she was a doctor, wasn't she? The mother and the father of this.
Yeah, that
because I
was one
saw
of the
that.
stories. Yeah, that was
They
one
were
of them.
very prominent and had
Yeah,
no idea
it
that
didn't
their
have
son
Yeah,
was
they were
addicted.
actually in the addiction community working, but they said that their parents,
And they didn't have the slightest idea that their son
Well,
was.
how does heroin work on the body? Why is it so addictive?
Once heroin enters the blood-brain barrier, which is within 5 to 10 seconds after it's ingested, it metabolizes into morphine, and then that affects. There's a spot. It's the cerebral is it the cerebellum? I did this with the students today. Cerebellum.
The brain.
At the base of the stem and that's what controls your top pain tolerance. So when they give you medications in the hospital, that's where that sensor is. Well, that also has in connection with your respiratory system. So the idea behind heroin, what makes it so fabulous that hooks people so quickly is that from what I hear, it makes you feel absolutely wonderful. Whatever physical pain you have, it's gone. Whatever mental pain you had, it's gone. Whatever spiritual pain you had, it's gone. It
how
takes you to
long?
such that's the point, such a euphoria, and people so quickly get addicted to that. But it's not just that they choose to get addicted. We have opioid receptors in our brain. And whenever that is ingested, those opioid receptors start firing, and they conflict with our dopamine and serotonin receptors, which is the chemicals that are released to make us happy. So those people that use and are addicts, I don't know for how long the addiction has to be, but it doesn't take very long before those things don't fire normally ever
they
again.
don't
Even after recovery, they can get some normalcy back to their life. But just like when I drive by and I see 2 baby cows playing in the field, even if I'm angry at everything in the world, I can't help but laugh because it's just so dang cute. Or I can't ever be sad around puppies. Puppies just make me happy. Babies. That kind of enjoyment out of the small things in life is something that they really don't ever get
gone.
again.
Who's that?
It's gone.
So it permanently changes your brain chemistry, first time out.
Oh, my man.
That's why it's just that the whole idea, I kept telling the kids, I was bugging them, I'm like, don't do it. This not even once. These bracelets that I gave out today, they are from an organization called the National Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. And I work with them when I've been doing this whole project to make sure that because they've already done this in St. Louis, to make sure I'm on the right track, I have the right ideas about how to approach things that might be a good idea to really get the message to the community. And they have these bracelets, and they have a little cat on them with crisscross eyes, like Curiosity killed the cat. And it says Curiosity plus heroin. And then the slogan is not even once, and there's the website is notevenonce.com. And it's an excellent, excellent website. I put paperwork and all the information I give to the kids, and then I always pass out the bracelets, because if they'll just take 15 to 30 minutes, you know how easily the internet can suck you in. on that website, I'm like, if you just, give me 15 minutes, and you start clicking and you start reading these stories about all these wonderful, promising people, 13 years old, 15 years old, 23 years old, so young. Some of them have children, 6-month-old children, and relapse is really common. The statistics say that it can take usually 4 to 6 times of in and out of rehab for someone to have like a 50% chance of staying clean for the rest of their lives and not having another relapse X amount of years later. I mean, it's just something that I just want the children to understand, to not mess with this stuff. It's not something, because, they all want to experiment, and they all want to think they're invincible, and they all think I can do it, and I try to make them understand that this is figuratively, yet very closely related to the idea of Russian roulette. Do you really want to take that chance with ruining your life? Because even if you recover, you're never going to be the same person. And that's an addiction that's always going to be there for the rest of your life.
That's worse than Russian roulette.
It is
Ever.
worse.
Well,
And
people
it
die the
just
first time sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
it does happen.
Yeah.
And these girls, I hear stories of girls going off to college, and I eyeball the girls in the room when I'm talking about it. They go off their freshman year, and they meet Mr. Dreamboat, and they think he's just the greatest thing ever, and then they find out that he's involved with this stuff. He's either taking pills, and then that leads to crushing them up and shooting them, and then that, whatever form of this might be. It's very easy for them to let their guard down and do something because they think they found Mr. Right and they're in love. Well, guess what? 2 weeks, 6 weeks later, he's gone and you have an addiction to deal with for the rest of your life.
Because they're in love with the
Yeah.
product, not with
And a lot of the boys, they have sports injuries. I hear a lot of the teenagers, they have oral surgery and things like that, and they get the prescriptions, and the doctors are giving, good prescriptions for opiates because they are a good painkiller. But then some of them are more prone to really enjoy those prescriptions, where like I told the kids, if I take one, I get like 45 minutes of a cold sweat and don't feel good at all and wonder if it was even worth taking the pain pill in the first place. Other ones, I said, if you find yourself thinking, wow, I feel a lot better, it's only been 2 hours and I'm not supposed to take another one for 4 hours. I said, that's a red flag right there. You might need to pay attention to that. Make sure you only take them as prescribed and for the duration they're prescribed. And if you find yourself trying to find more after the prescription's gone, or faking that you're still hurting to get more.
So prescription opiates can be a doorway to...
Yes, they are a doorway. I know it's highly likely. It's just something that they need to pay attention to, because they may take 3 or 4 different prescriptions, over the next 5 years. And it may take that long, and then all of a sudden their body, our bodies are always changing. I want them to just be educated so that they know, because a lot of the stories that I hear of people in recovery or people who are reporting about stories about people who are no longer here, they made the comment, mom or dad or whoever they're talking to, I didn't know what I was messing with when I started this.
Why are the doctors allowed to give those prescriptions then? Why don't the government shut that down?
Well, that's a whole
Well,
nother bag of worms.
like she said, they're good. If you take, what's an example, oxycodone? I mean, my mother had that. It's a painkiller.
Exactly, but there's Advil and there's ibuprofen, and those things mess up your stomach, but they don't
They may
mess
not
your
be
brain.
strong enough after
Yeah.
surgery.
They're not,
They may not be adequate.
because I've had that stronger stuff after.
It's just like
Yeah.
a lot
They gave
of
it to me
things,
and I never
there's
took it
one
because I
way to
didn't like
use
the
it and
feel
use
of
it responsibly, and then
That's
there's abusing it. They need to understand the difference between prescription drug use and prescription drug abuse. That's where the hope, heroin and opioid prescription education, to let them understand that you might get, and a lot of the kids don't realize that Percocets and Vicodin are opiates. They think those are like the lesser pain pills. They don't realize they're still the same chemical makeup, just not the same kind of potency, or they're mixed with aspirin versus more of a pure form. But that just, starts to create
And
a
don't-
need for and want for more, because eventually they're going to run across somebody who has something more powerful, and then going back is not even something they want to do.
And don't they put them all in a pile and do a whole bunch of them at one time?
That's a different kind of, I've heard
that's
those
a
called
different
Farm parties and.
and
things
skittle
like that.
parties and whatever,
You
but
know,
that's just
we,
bad idea. She's got a funny story.
Well, just, we do the prescription drug take-back events
Yeah.
through the Community Services Forum, which is also providing some of the funding to support things like buying these bracelets for the Hope Alliance. But when we do these, and I have heard these stories about going to a party and there's a bowl of prescription drugs, you don't know what they are, and people taking them. And I said, we do these take-back events. We see what people bring in, and I think if young people knew how many stool softeners were in that bowl, they wouldn't
want it.
they would never touch what's in there. And there's some scary, and there's some other things in that. That is not necessarily good stuff in that bowl.
No.
But, so Tara, what should parents be looking for in family members? What kind of a warning signs?
Other than missing spoons,
Missing spoons, we talked about, but.
a lot of the packaging now, from what I understand, this is an ever-evolving thing. It looks kind of like what I call the belly button end of
it's a bubble
little
like,
pieces.
yeah.
But then they're also, this is something that people need to watch out for. They're like a plastic bag from Walmart or whatever. They'll just tear a piece of that off and put it in there and twist it up. And then a lot of parents don't even realize it when they walk through the living room or the kitchen, because of course when they get high they drop stuff and don't pay attention anymore. They'll find little pieces of plastic bag and just pick it up and be like,
Throw it away, yeah.
dang, kids always leaving stuff lay around, nobody can pick things up, and just throw it away and not even think, because it's just a piece of a plastic bag, but that's different ways that they package it. You see it portrayed in Hollywood and on the East Coast and stuff, where it comes in like designer bags, and they have different stamps, heroin stamps, and that's supposed to be, like they give it different names, and dealers use certain ones and things like that, but they don't do a lot of that around here. Now up in St. Louis, there might be some of that, but down here the most I hear about is the plastic bags and then the pieces of balloon. And then I was just told the other day that they are now selling it in the syringes, and they call it a 40 because it's 40 cc's, and you can buy the syringe already preloaded.
Oh my God.
And they're calling it a 40.
Yeah. So what does heroin, the drug, look like?
Well, black tar heroin, of course, is the gooey, yucky, sticky substance, but most of the powders are either white or a rose gray. You know what I mean by that? Like a rose gray, or a little brown, and the light shade tan brown powder, and then the black tar, which is a whole different ball game. There's quite a bit of that around, but that's not as easy to do as the powder. The powder you can just rub in your mouth or snort or smoke or whatever. The black tar is a little bit more. That's kind of more advanced.
So
What do you do with the black tar?
They cook it down in a spoon and
okay,
pull it
that's
up through
where
a
it's-
syringe.
Okay.
So where does it come from?
Asia, Mexico, Afghanistan.
Where do kids around here get it? I'm not giving any tips out or anything, but I mean, where is
Jefferson County, St. Louis County. I don't really hear stories of people going south, although, Cape, Sykeston, Jackson, they all have the same kind of issues going on down there, but I don't hear kids or anyone in the addiction community telling me that they go south. It's all either to Jefferson County or St. Louis County.
But it's not far.
An hour,
So what are some key behaviors to look for?
That's kind of a problem. Like, when she was looking at some of my paperwork, and she's like, it's so hard because a lot of it is what parents dismiss as typical teenage behavior. It's almost like you just have to trust
Mood
your
swings.
gut. It's a gut thing. Because, the mood swings, sleeping irregularly, those kinds of things, you got to just level out. But one of the most common attributes is the nodding off. After they get high, however way they choose, and that was on that show the other night too. Remember when he showed back up?
Yes.
He said he had only been drinking, and then he admitted to taking a Xanax, and he was sitting there with Chad Sabora, who I work with on this stuff, and the mother, and he's like, but I didn't do any, and they were like, you know, he's nodding off, and his eyes are all full of water, and he can't hardly, and that's part of their high, you know, that he's feeling good right then, you know, nodding off, and then coming out, and he'll be alert for a while, and then go back out.
Or like the
That's
video we were
pleasurable.
watching about the woman on the bus with her child and doing the nodding off. And had a young child with her, and somebody was taping her.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
'Cause that's when they're feeling good. You know, it's taken over, it's gone over that blood-brain barrier and been metabolized, and all those opioid receptors are firing, and the dopamine and serotonin are combating, and they don't know if they should wake up or go to sleep or...
So, switching gears, you mentioned Narcan earlier. What is that?
Narcan is also known as naloxone. Narcan is just the shortened version of it. Most of the EMTs in some towns, all first responders, but in this particular town, no. Just the EMTs can administer a shot. It comes a lot like an EpiPen.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
when
you
you're
know, have some of them with
allergic,
their diabetes, you can turn the dial, and it has, and then they also have just the bottles, and you can pull it up in the syringe. But the situation with it right now is that it's not legal. It's really a weird situation because it's not illegal to possess, but it's not legal for a doctor to prescribe it to a third party. So say your son or daughter has an addiction, and we know this, we've already been through this round 1 or round 2, it's a way for us to have a little extra reassurance when we feel so powerless, because what this drug does is it blocks the opioid receptors. So if you could manage to get them to the hospital, this is what they would administer. The reason that I feel so strongly about it being able not only to be carried by all first responders, law and medical, but third parties also, is because this shot has already saved thousands of lives. One of the main things I hear, which to me doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and was also on the show, is that they say that having possession of the Narcan gives the heroin user a sense of security that they can overdose and it will be okay. This is an argument that people put up. To me, just as it seems to you, it sounds ludicrous. It does, you know, and
It's
the
a
heroin user,
cop-out.
he's like, I don't think about, oh, I have Narcan in the house. I can, you know, because mom may not find me for an hour. You know, there is no ever any reassurance, but it's just an extra measure of protection that a parent or, you know, if it's your husband, you know, or your brother who's living with you in your house, you know, whatever the situation, you have an addict in your home, because you're going to be able to give that shot to them. All you have to do is inject it into a muscle, and there's no adverse effects. I could shoot myself with it right now, and absolutely nothing would happen, because the drug is completely designed to block opioid receptors.
So what is the
That's all it
legislation
does.
that's pending in the Senate?
It just got through the House of Representatives. March 31st, it passed and got sent on to the Senate on April 1st.
The Missouri Senate, yeah.
Yes, the Missouri Senate, for all first responders to be able to carry this. They get, I think, a 1-hour training, and then it releases them. I don't know why there would be any liability, but releases them from liability and allows them to have possession of it. That's the first step in getting it through the Senate, which I really don't, it's just a matter of, you know, going through the processes, but it really was a fairly unanimous situation in the House. I went up on Recovery Day, which I think was March 9th. I went up to Jeff City with Chad Sabora, and we went around and talked to a lot of people that day, and I felt like I had made some sort of impact with quite a few of the politicians that I talked to. I talked to Romine,
Gary Romine.
Gary Romine.
Yeah,
I know his
he's
son,
our
so
local
I always
state senator.
confuse his sons with him. I spoke with Gary Romine, and I spoke with Kevin Engler, and I spoke with Elaine Gannon, and Brian.
Others.
Yes, many others. I was on it that day. I was sweating, and I got a good opportunity in the side chambers to have conversation that I think was important to get to the right person that I needed to get get it put in the committee, for the committee to put it in before the spring break.
So it's gone through the House.
And
Do
now-
you remember what the Senate bill number is, if anybody's interested?
No, not offhand, because now there's another one, and I've got those numbers in my head. I think one of them is, I don't know if it's Senate Bill or House Bill 1518, and I think
Yeah.
the Senate Bill, the one that just got changed over, is 4020, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared.
Well, you
Well,
can go look those up, though.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can look those up or.
The legislation's
or call
not
them
hard to find.
and- Yeah, it's not hard to find at all. So that's what's going on legislatively.
Yeah.
But I know one of the spin-offs of this as well has been the family support group you mentioned.
When we first started this, we had 3 goals in mind. The first goal was to increase education and awareness in the community, so been working on that. The second one was to decrease the stigma that's attached to either being an addict or having an addict in your family. And the third was to increase knowledge of resources for treatment. So every time I've spoken to the kids or spoken to any groups, I've made sure to include resources so people know where to go should they have a friend, a cousin, aunt, uncle, son, daughter that needs help. Because everybody that I've heard in this situation, they say, well, we don't know where to go. There's only one treatment place around here. And honestly, I'll put a disclaimer out there and say, in my opinion, the best treatment is a C-STAR opioid center. That's a center it's a comprehensive substance treatment.
AR.
Yeah, AR. But they understand that this addiction is I'm not saying it's worse than alcoholism, because that is a bad disease as well. But that the body is reacting in a different way, and that this is affecting the person in a different way. But just like an alcoholic for the rest of their life cannot have a drink. They say just one drink. It's the same way with this. For the rest of your life, every time you get upset or have a bad day, you're going to think, man, I want to go score. And they're always going to know where to go. Even if they leave the area, because an addict will tell you that they can cruise down a street that they've never been down before if it's in that, and they can tell who's holding and who's not. It's like a radar that they have. They'll be able to sniff it out.
So that shot now, if they have an emergency,
They overdose.
yeah, then they can just give them that shot and it blocks.
Yes,
So
and
it
it gives
doesn't
time
affect
for
them?
the 911 to be called and emergency services to still come, but you're not waiting that extra 10 or 15 minutes that it takes for them to respond.
Which could be life or death.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you don't know how long they've already been out.
Oh,
Because
You
you and I can't
don't
buy that
likely
shot.
witness it.
I
You
know.
hear a thump in the other room, and then you go in and find out. I heard a story recently, someone who had just gotten out of rehab. He was into physical fitness. He was going running every day. He was in his room, and they heard a thump, and they thought it was him in there lifting weights. And then they didn't hear from him for a couple hours and went in to check on him, and he had overdosed. That thump wasn't his weights hitting the ground, it was him hitting the ground. So it's just that reassurance, because these parents and these loved ones of someone with an addiction, this is a very, very horrible stress in their life, because
Oh, I get it.
they want to do anything and everything they can to try to save this person, because they still remember who that person is
So
supposed to be.
When we talk about the goal of reducing the stigma, we're not minimizing the issue at all.
No.
We want families to be able to talk about
Right.
it.
Right, and not,
Be
Right,
ashamed,
and this
that,
was-
this is not
exactly.
something that means
They are
that
the
you're.
Doesn't mean you're a bad parent.
Right.
right, exactly.
People have 4
Or a
kids
bad
and one of
person.
them ends up being an addict and they're like, what did I do wrong with this one? That it's not that you did anything wrong or
I
anything
think it's
different with
more
this one,
peer
but it's
pressure.
always the parents that want to blame themselves.
You
They
think
always.
it's peer pressure that most
I think
kids
it's
try
probably
it,
a
or-
combination of impulsiveness that comes sometimes with youth and
all the
opportunity.
time with youth.
And, yeah, exactly. I don't, and, possibly peer pressure, but just sometimes, like Kara was saying earlier, just wanting to be cool, wanting to fit in,
Well, the
somebody
drugs
that
have
you like.
escalated. It used to be, oh, come smoke some pot.
Yeah.
And then, the 80s
Well, yeah,
and
but
stuff,
now
then it was
they're legalizing
cocaine.
that pot, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's small,
Yeah.
small stuff now. That's what I'm saying. It's escalated. Then in the 80s, it was the cocaine, and then in the 90s, it was more hallucinogenics. Now it's heroin, and heroin hasn't gone away. It's been lingering for 20, 25 years now, and it's just growing and creeping and getting
Yeah.
into the rural communities and taking over. I asked the kids today, do you know what's going on in Vermont? No one knew. I was so shocked. Because the whole state of the state address that the governor made was completely around their horrible epidemic of heroin addiction. They are ready to take drastic measures. Just look at look online, Vermont, and that's all that they talk about because
Yeah, they were talking
It's-
about that on television the other day,
Yeah.
that was the state that was completely
riddled.
riddled.
And, that's what we're trying to get out ahead of this. We're not saying St. Genevieve's worse
No.
than other
No.
areas.
It's just enlightening.
We want to
and
know, no
making
dead kids,
people aware.
we want to get out there, and it's not even just kids, it's young people.
Well,
Say
we live in
We
a
want people to be
society,
informed.
we live in a society where we don't think bad things happen around us.
Yeah,
That's part of the
But they
small
do.
town safety
Yeah.
that we try to have.
But that safety net is not there.
we have to be alert, we have to be aware, we don't want to live in fear, but you have to
Because
be aware.
it's not in the big cities anymore, it's branching out into the small,
Oh,
Absolutely.
it's
innocent
already
people.
here.
Yeah, it's
That-
already here. Yeah, didn't we hear that, we have been told, we don't have confirmation of this, but some of our people in the addiction community have said, there are middle schoolers that have used heroin in this county.
Oh, my God.
That's
Oh,
what
I
I've
was
been told.
I knew that.
I was told by someone in the addiction community that dealers are specifically targeting 12 and 13-year-old children because that gives them a good 3 to 4 years of them being addicted before they can get a driver's license and
Yeah.
drive away to go get it from anywhere else. So they've
Between
got
12
a
and
customer
15.
close. That's
12
how
and 15 is a
twisted
good age.
Isn't that twisted?
how
Yeah.
twisted the logic is.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just, this peer education to
But,
try to educate these children so that they do know what's going on and they can't be lied to.
Couple things we want to make sure to mention tonight. One is about the family support group, which meets every Monday nights at 7 o'clock at the Steelworkers Union Hall in South Gabourey. And you don't need to call, you just show up. And that's for family members, loved ones,
Anybody who
Anybody
is trying to help an
wants to
addict.
talk about it. And we have a volunteer, mother of an addict, who is there, and she kind of leads the meetings, and Tara's been helping her get started. And so anybody's welcome to attend those. We also have something coming up at Valley on May 10th, is that?
No, May
No,
7th.
May 7th.
I'm going to be speaking to the 7th and 8th graders because I spoke to the high schoolers last Wednesday. That's the day I'm going to get to speak to
I was
the
thinking of
middle
an evening
schoolers.
event.
Well, that's two. I got the 7th and 8th grader that day. I'm a busy woman.
I know you are.
And then that night from 6:30 to 8, we're saying 6:30 to 8, but we're open for further discussion should people want to stay and talk. We're trying to get a community event together because I've gotten small groups of adults and I've gotten some of the children. And I've even had comments because I work at a winery and I've heard comments from children that had came in with their parents over the weekend after I spoke. And they were like, is there a girl named Tara here? Because she came and spoke at our school and she did such a good job and it made me so proud.
I don't believe the last word.
Yeah.
But,
But I was impressed because they're listening and they remembered my name. They remembered where, our discussion that we had because I told them where I worked. And So I know that they're listening, but anyway. That evening, we're going to try to have a community event from 6:30 to 8 or so, and we're going to have about 3 or 4 speakers we're hoping for. I want definitely about 3. I'm always game for an extra just
Now,
in
what
case
date
something.
is that now?
That's May 7th.
At where?
Valley Cafeteria is what we're.
In the Cafeteria
yeah.
Valley. And there'll be speakers on different topics from different perspectives. Possibly, an addict, a parent of an addict, and I'm not sure who else.
One of the people that's working with us has a connection with a man from the DEA who worked undercover work for the past X amount of years. And so he has the lowdown on all the dirtiness, all the things that they're trying to do, all the things that he's seen, the methods to the madness of what's going on out there. So hopefully, because he's up for speaking, so hopefully he'll be there.
So this would be a good thing for the community.
Yeah, that's what the whole point is
To
them
get in
to
and
get
to listen to
perspective
this.
on this, to not just hear it from me.
No.
And not just hear it from, bits and pieces, because I have, when I've been at meetings, it has helped to have law enforcement there, because there's been people that are kind of questioning me, but then when they get reassurance from law enforcement that, yeah, she's right, this is really what's happening, then they're open their minds a little bit more. This is a way for several different perspectives to be cast. Hopefully law enforcement will be there, and then we'll have 3 or 4 other different viewpoints on the situation to get education out there.
We did when I say we loosely, Tara did a presentation at the Women's Health Fair, and that is available on stgentv.com. I think it's under Community. I have to look there. It's also posted on the local extension office website, extension.missouri.edu/St. Genevieve. So people can check it out there as well, and her awesome presentation that she did.
And we also have a Facebook page at St. Genevieve Hope Alliance, and we'd appreciate it if you would get on there and look. We try to post things, once or twice a week, if not more. Depends on if something exciting's going on, because I get involved in the politics of all this. And little quotes, spiritual things, any kind of new treatments that are available, anything in the news that's going on, any stories, just to put it out there. Any information that we have about our speaking engagements or the support group, if we have any news for that, like when the weather was bad, that's where we posted our cancellations. And then on May 10th is the day that we've picked to have the anti-heroin rally. I graduate the 17th. This is like my last shebang with this, and I'm so excited. I want to have like 200 people out there if I can, because I've made connections with so many people during all this time, with the students, with the teachers, the parents, the addiction community. So May 10th, it's going to be
It's going to be up by Country Mart, in that area up there.
I just tell everybody we're going to be everywhere right there, because I have it in my mind. There's going to be so many people.
Maybe during the day.
Yes, from 9 to 11, because there's a baseball tournament that starts at 11. So that was my logic. I looked at the school calendars and tried to figure out what would work the best. And that day, from 11 to 5, there's a baseball tournament. So I thought if we do it from 9 a.m. to 11, then all that traffic coming in and out of town for the baseball tournament's going to see us. And that gives the children an opportunity to come up from like 9 to 10 before they have to go down for the tournament. Signs and
We need
horns
everybody to come
honking
out.
and, yeah,
Make a
awareness.
statement. This
And what's
drug
the
is not
website
going to be
again?
tolerated.
The St. Genevieve Hope Alliance for the Facebook page. You can just look up St. Genevieve Hope Alliance and it should take you.
And
It has
I
a,
know this community communicates on Facebook. That's how we all share information. That's how I learn about a lot of things locally. So Tara's a busy girl. She's had a lot going on. She's been a really
speaking engagements.
She's been a great
There's a lot of
asset
things
to the
I haven't-
community.
It's great to have somebody like that because there's so much going on that kids, a lot of times, I found that sometimes kids it's not only the other children, it's not only the outside, it's sometimes their families. The parents don't realize the pressure they put on their own children.
Well, you know,
And sometimes that they get aggravated at their parents, and then they will look for escape.
Yep.
And I think parents don't realize the kind of pressure that they do put on their kids at times.
well, I think a lot of parents think, not my kids. And I remember at the Women's Health Fair, there was a woman who came by, our booth was by the back door. It happened to be somebody that Tara knew, so she was talking with her, and the woman was like, oh, my kids would never do that, and was walking out the door, and Tara's chasing her out into the parking lot going, let me tell you why you're wrong.
I did.
She did.
I chased her all the way out. She kept trying to walk away from me, and I just kept following her. It really.
Because she was absolutely right.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean your kids are grown? So you're not going to have any friends who might have younger kids, or you're not concerned about your grandchildren? This
We're
this
adults.
pertains to everyone. You might hear your friend talking about their son or their granddaughter or somebody doing particular things, and you'd be able to think, oh, when I read that information, or when I went to that presentation, or when I listened to Tara, she mentioned some of those things. And then you can probably help that friend by saying, well, maybe you should look for this, that, or the other, or do some investigating. Just because it's not directly related to your children doesn't mean that it's not important for us to just be aware. Knowledge is power. That's my big motto. Proactive, not reactive, and knowledge is power.
Well, I think
And
it's
just because they're in their 20s doesn't mean they're...
They can start in their 20s. Isn't
Yeah,
the
the
average age of
statistics,
onset?
the average age for first drug use in this county is 16.2 years of age. The average first-time heroin user in Missouri is 22.1 years old. Average age of death is 35.
That's a short window.
14-year window from 22 to 35.
And in the visual presentation we do, you can get mug shots online if you Google this, and you can see a dramatic transformations from that first arrest to their
6 months,
later ones. Their
a
physical
year,
transformation is dramatic.
That's why I said when the girls, look at those pictures, think about that stuff when you're at the party. Do you want to have gray skin and have your teeth rotten out and your eyes sunken in and your hair all nasty because you don't care about your personal hygiene anymore?
Care less.
Yeah.
Do you want to become that kind of person? Because it's so sad to see what they look like before.
Yeah.
You're like, that person morphed into this person in a year and a half.
It's amazing.
Imagine how their mom and dad feel, to see that happen to them. It's just, I tell children it's a beast. It's just a beast you do not want to mess with.
Well, it's like the photo on your flyer that you've got out now. It'll take your life.
It'll take your money, it'll take your family, take your friends, it'll take your life. My name is heroin.
So that's fun little upbeat
Yeah,
topic.
upbeat. But it's reality.
Yes,
You
it
know.
is, and people need to know that. I mean,
they do.
We all need to be vigilant. I don't even have kids, but that doesn't matter. Like Tara said, I certainly know a lot of kids, and I know a lot of young people, and I know people that know young people. So, we've all got to work together, keep ourselves
if you're around
healthy and safe.
a student, and they usually their high lasts 6 to 8 hours. So if you're trying to go on a family vacation or be with them overnight, and you see certain behaviors, those are warning signs. If they have to get away from you in an urgency, but when they come back, they seem calm or different, or all those little things, and you think, oh, they just went out and took a breather, calmed down. No, it's all the little things. To trust your gut, I think, is the most important. When your alarm goes off and you start paying more attention, women, I say women because we're smarter than men, but is that on record?
Whoa, that is on record.
But I say trust our guts, because we know when something's going wrong with our children, or we know when something's going on with our husband or our boyfriend or our sister. We can tell a difference, and you try to blow it off, and that's part of enabling. Is that behavior of, oh, they're just going through a hard time, or oh, they're just they're just doing it right now, it's a phase. All the excuses that you can come up with to try to not deal with the issue because you don't really want that to be what's happening.
But it's a phase that's happening
It's
and
not
it
a
cannot
phase.
be
It's
redone.
a
Yeah.
phase
You
of
cannot
failure.
undo it.
Can't undo it, that's it.
Once this,
Not even once.
no, you can't undo it. Once you start down that path, you cannot undo it.
I made sure to
And
go over
your
that
life
with
is
the
a
students
disaster.
today. They had a student enabling questionnaire. And we went through it and I read some of them off, the kind of behaviors that you don't think is enabling. Like when you choose to be the designated driver so that all your friends can get trash. Or when you lie for your friend because they were really with this other group of people, but their parents like you, so you tell them that they were with you, but they weren't. All that different stuff, that's indirectly, you're contributing to that.
That's right.
I'm like, nobody wants to be considered a narc or a downer or,
Wanna be cool.
a snitch. But this is life-saving situation here. Do you want to stand over that person's grave and cry because you kept your mouth shut and their mom had no
It's
idea?
better to be a snitch.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Or would you rather them be mad at you for 2 years, but then
Exactly.
come back and say, you saved my life?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard call to make, but it's kind of clear-cut at the same time.
But this has been really interesting.
Well, I
Yes, it has.
think we're just about run over our time.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to come and.
Oh, no,
and
it's
talk
great,
and,
just wonderful.
Yes.
Because I think everybody needs to be aware of, because kids have the attitude now, because I have grandchildren, and they have this attitude, it won't happen to me.
Yeah.
I'm invincible, I won't have an accident, or I won't have
We all
this
do
or
when
that.
we're young.
And you don't know.
That's part of growing up.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just,
just
and,
part of
and so
life.
they're gonna try something, and, well, it's not gonna happen to me, I can do it, I can get rid of it.
Absolutely.
And they don't
And
realize
I admit
that they
to that
can't.
when I talk to the kids, I admit to that. I tell them, I know that you're going to think this, and I know you're going to try stuff.
It's
I'm
right.
just trying to say, it's not
No.
a good idea, and do not mess with this. Do not mess
Do
with
not mess
this.
with
This is something you can't regret. You can't just regret this.
You can't
This is
manage it.
Yeah.
No, it's out of control.
It's like
And
Tara
you
said
know-
earlier, you can't experiment with it.
No.
And those young kids, the really young ones, like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
they have to be stealing from their parents.
Oh, yeah.
And their friends.
And their brains are developing so much at that age. I
Isn't
mean,
that
this
a
is
shame?
horrible.
Well, it's not incredibly
But if they see
expensive.
their older brother and sister doing it, they're
It's
going to
okay.
try to emulate it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if someone's proposing it to them and they're not very popular and this person really thinks that they're cool and they get a lot of positive feedback from this person,
Uh-huh.
they'll take that substance and then it makes them feel really good. So where's the bad part in this situation? I have a new friend and a new friend for the rest of my life, but they just don't realize. They do not know
That rest of your life
that
is
that's,
not the
that's
rest of
the
your
devil
life.
right there.
Yeah.
It's a short
Yeah.
one.
It wants to kill you.
Thank you for letting us keep you here so long.
That's okay.
Oh, that's all right, so I lost my beauty sleep.
You're beautiful enough
I'm
already,
a talker,
Mary Ann.
that's what I do.
The little
You know,
bunnies
Drama
like you
started
being
it.
here.
Drama teachers create this.
Oh,
Thank you
well,
all for
thank
coming.
you
Thank
very,
you
very
so
much. And lots of luck with your degree.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a
Anxious-
job yet?
Nope, I'm anxious to see where I end up. I
Somebody
don't-
very smart needs to hire her.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes, yes.
I'm very open. Just whatever I do, I get passionate about. That's my thing. If I feel strongly about it, then
Yeah,
But
Tara
things
is a,
have to have, that's a
You
social
give it over
worker in me. I need to have
100%.
meaning.
Well, I tell you what, close your ears. Because I've had a lot of students over the years. This is the third one in this past year. She's by far been the best one. Can't hear that.
What'd you say?
No.
It's
Yeah,
best
yeah,
that
she's
you
been a
don't
real
listen.
asset.
Well, it's really been
It,
interesting. It's just
developing
been
that program
just
Yeah.
wonderful.
with all the research.
It was a journey because I've never done this, and she guided me, but she made me work. Don't get me wrong. I'm taking a lot of credit, because I deserve it. But it was
She's worked very hard.
It was very scary. I'm like, I've never done anything like this. And she's like, well, you better figure it out.
You see those lights burning in the extension
starts-
office late at night. It's not just
Yeah.
me down there these days.
Yeah, I've been down there at 10 o'clock more than a few times.
Well, thank you very, very
Yes,
much.
thanks a lot.
And you have a wonderful Easter.
You too. I
And
wish
I
I had
hope
some bunny
that you
ears.
Well, here, you can wear mine for a minute.
You get over
Now we get, Tara is the new bunny lady.
1,000 people.
New bunny lady.
Tara is the new bunny lady.
Yes.
They suit you, yes.
Yeah,
They look
prospective
cute.
employers.
Okay, Dawn. Dawn, put Tara on the camera with her new bunny
That's right,
ears.
with her
Prospective
bunny
employers.
ears.
There you
Where
go.
am I at? Where
There
do
she
I
is.
Little
Look
bit
at-
look at
higher.
her.
There you go. Little
You're
bit
on.
higher.
There you go.
put this
Yeah.
on my dating profile or my prospective employer resume?
Okay, our next guest for the 23rd is going to be Bob Mueller with the École du Soleil.
Well,
However you say it.
the old Army guys.
Yeah, And,
Yeah, soldat.
hopefully we
Yeah.
have Dr. Cavens and Mary Cerullius about the 5K run. And we also have Youth Plein Air at Valley on the 7th and the 10th. And Jean Grifford will be here also.
With
So
her
we have a
Parkinson.
full,
Will Jean be here for Parkinson?
either Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, whichever one. I think it's
Oh,
Parkinson's,
okay.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's.
I called her, but she didn't call me back.
Yeah,
I
it's
said,
Parkinson's.
okay, Jean, I got 2 things on here, which is right.
Yeah.
Naturally, I get it wrong.
There's a lot going on.
Yes, so anyway, we'll have a nice informative show the next time too, so everybody tune in and watch
And
us.
everyone remember, the big circus comes to town on Monday.
Right.
14th.
And the play's May 9th, there's a lot going on that weekend, May 9th.
May
There's a lot
10th,
going
the
on.
rally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Chamber banquet. And
and the rally is
May
again,
10th.
Tara,
May 10th.
9 a.m. to 11.
9 to 11.
Come out, make signs.
And she wants a lot of people.
Drop your youngins off at the plein air paint and go out and listen,
yeah.
and join the rally.
It'd be a
And
great
they
opportunity.
can stay with us until 12. Well,
There you go.
They'll be in good hands.
That'd be a great idea.
Angie and I will be there, so.
And if you want to, you can go up and watch them put up the big top up at the
That's
fairgrounds at 7:30
A.M.
Monday morning a.m. And you can watch the elephants put up the big top.
And you can ride them, isn't that what she said? Are they
Yeah,
gonna
I
let
think
'em?
so. I don't know.
They said that's what
And
she
we
said
don't
they
want to
usually
forget about
do.
the drummer play too
Yeah.
on the nights.
I don't want to
Yeah.
ride no elephant.
May 9th, I don't either.
I would pay money to see Mary Ann on an elephant.
Bunny ears on.
Okay, we'll start
With the bunny ears.
charging and see, we can
I think
donate.
we could get
We
a
can
pretty
donate them, oh, there's another thing
Why do
too.
people want to
Fundraiser.
do these things?
Because you're fun.
But you have to wear the bunny ears.
We have another good cause too, the Reimer
Mhm.
girl, they have boxes out, anybody drop money in, be great to help pay for her.
Oh, for her funeral.
That's on Facebook as well, if you see that posting. And
Yes, I think most of the beauty shops have it out, and I don't know anywhere, I mean, Dollar General does, and does, anybody been in Country Mart or anywhere?
I was in
Anyway,
Country
make a
Mart
trip
today.
to Dollar General and stick it in their box up there, or else go to one of the beauty shops and get
help
beautiful.
cover the
And
funeral
stick some money in
expenses.
there,
Yes.
yeah, because they're having a bad time.
It's
and
tragic.
Then they lose their little one.
Should never, ever happen to
No.
any kids, ever.
Ever, ever.
Okay, so ready to play our music?
We can play our music. Are we gonna lay eggs first, or
Oh, here,
Yeah.
give her bunny ears back.
Oh,
Well, they've got
bunny
to
ears.
have the bunny ears on to play the music.
am I, it's making my head hurt.
Okay, so you play yours
You be
first.
rocking and wiggling, even hopping and giggling like a hop.
I'm gonna hang on
When the
your
party
tail.
started, we will never get started giggling like a hop. Yes, the night day I was all feeling loud as a hop. You the party hop. The party will never stop. Come on, you the party hop.
Mama
the Western
Hen, back again. Squawking, walking, let's begin. I'm about to show you how it's done. Laying eggs is so much fun. Squawk! There it is. There's an egg over here, an egg over there. Throw your beak in the air, shake your dairy, yeah. Squawk! There it is. Squawk-a-locka,
missing an egg, I think.
I know, I couldn't find
You
it.
should have hurried up and stuck it in there.
I'm not that fast.
That is so cute. Where'd you get that?
At Hallmark.
Okay, good night, everyone. Have a good
Good night,
evening.
and you have a wonderful Easter.
And tune in to us next week. Yeah.
Only eat eggs that are boiled.
We're off. Oh, there we are.
And the chicken.
The chicken.
Mama Hen, back again. Squawking, walking, let's begin. I'm about to show you how it's done. Laying eggs is so much fun. Squawk! There it is.
Oh.
There's an egg over here, an egg over there. Throw your beak in the air, shake it
Oh,
in
there
the
we go.
air. Squawk! There it is.
Can I come do this show every week? Talk about makeup stuff and talk about
Twice a
stuff.
month. They're having
You
a
can
fun.
come anytime you want to,
That's
Sharon.
right.
We would like to have
Yes,
you.